Nervous, excited, daunted. Brings back a lot of emotions and a lot of memories, and the children will be there, my dad's grandchildren, so it'll be lovely for them as well. They're pleased just because they get half a day off school.
The Market Square in Nottingham, where the city is about to witness the second coming of Brian Clough.
It's a 9-foot-high bronze statue of Brian, and I can't reveal more than that at this stage, even at this stage.
Would you please give a special welcome to Mrs. Barbara Clough?
Mum's had the most to do with choosing it. She's been worrying about it, I think, for a few weeks now, if not months, and it's a big thing for her, the whole day, really.
There's some great stars here. Tony Woodcock, his hair's getting longer and longer. Let's hear it for Brian Clough.
Make me feel there are songs to be sung. Bells for £70,000 contributed by the people of Nottingham.
Can we have the next group, please, which is the immediate family, which is grandchildren and...
It's like a wedding.
So young.
I think he'd be so pleased. I think he'd be in tears probably if he saw that. You know, I'm sure he will see it. Don't you think the position's good here?
Yeah, it is the way with the buildings as well. And,
yes,
yeah.
I think it's wonderful.
In many years to come, there'll be people in Nottingham who are walking around, tourists from maybe, I don't know, England, different countries, who say, you know, who's that fella there, who's that statue of? And somebody just might explain, you know, who it is and why it's there.
We would like to blaze a trail for English football.
Exactly 30 years ago, Nottingham Forest became the best team in Europe.
At the time, nobody thought that Liverpool, you know, could be challenged. It didn't faze Brian. You know, he challenged them and actually, you know, went ahead of them.
Oh, yeah. Little flicker. Woodcock and Battles has got it!
The European Cup holders Liverpool were defeated in round one.
Not a bad-looking cross, Woodcock. And a superb goal from Barrett.
We had some wonderful footballers and we had a great, great spirit. And I mean a great spirit.
And now it's Muller to score goal number 2. Oh, my goodness me.
In the semi-final, Clough's men struggled, held to a 3-3 draw in the first leg by German champions Cologne.
Forest are in real trouble.
We're despondent, obviously, not going to Clough with a lead, but far from out of any competition. I hope anybody's not stupid enough to write us off.
What did you say that for, you know, sort of thing? I thought, God, you know, you're pushing your luck there, you know, but, you know, should have known better, really.
Cologne were beaten 2 weeks later.
And William scores the goal.
After we played in Nottingham, not many people thought we were going to do it, but I did.
The roles were recast for the final. Nottingham Forest were favourites to beat Swedish club Malmo.
Nottingham Forest will step out into here, the heart of the Olympic Stadium in Munich. It's a fitting venue, says Peter Taylor. It's the showpiece of Europe.
Many people said that you're the favourites for tonight. What do you think about that?
Well, I'm not interested in what other people say. I think it's a cup final, and I think that both teams are equal before the start of the match. What do you feel, young lady, coming from Sweden?
Well, let the best man win, then.
Yes, good.
We sat down on the perimeter of the field and he got us all together. And there were 1 or 2 doubts, you know, with regard to injuries to Archie Gemmell and Martin O'Neill.
And he asked us, were we fit? And of course we're going to say we're fit. We know we want to play in the European Cup final. And I remember him saying,
Archie, how's your ankle? He says, oh, great, boss. I've been training for 2 weeks now. Don't feel a thing. He says to Martin O'Neill, he says, Martin, how's your hamstring? Oh, great, boss. I've been training for 10 days. Don't feel a thing. He says, I'm delighted for the 2 of yous. The 2 of yous are on the bench.
Can you imagine, you know, the disappointment on Martin O'Neill and Archie Gemmell not to be playing? I really felt that I had to put in a performance to justify the faith shown in me by the manager.
I don't like these stadiums with the running tracks around them. It makes them look too big, too much running to do.
To be fair, I didn't enjoy the match one little bit. I never really had a shot to save. Everybody just remembers the goal.
Still to this day is the greatest, moment of my career. To play in your first game in Europe and to score the winning goal, that's what dreams are made of.
European champions. The closest I got to that, I think, was in a comic.
He says, after the game, I don't want you going back home like a load of ragtags. He says, I want you all smart. Because when we get back in the country, I want you to look like a football team, not a load of jaded rock stars after a night out.
And we're delighted, obviously, for taking a European Cup back to England.
Now we've got a chance next year as well. We're going to win next year.
We liked it that much. Let's try it again.
And they did return for the 1980 European Cup final. Clough took his team to Mallorca for a week and ordered the players to relax. There was no curfew and one training session on a roundabout next to the team hotel.
We were playing Kevin Keegan's Hamburg in the Bernabeu in Madrid, and obviously they were a very strong team, strong favourites for the game.
Absolutely delighted to be playing against Hamburg and Kevin Keegan and Uncle Tom Cobley and all.
It'll be Nottingham Forest who kick off this 1980 European Cup final.
I only know Keegan, and I think the right back Manny Coults.
Coults in very quickly for the challenge there.
We've got a little fat guy that will turn him inside out.
Sean Robertson.
Yeah, very talented, highly skilled, unbelievable outside left. He'll turn him inside out.
The ball will come for Robertson, and now maybe he'll have a chance to attack Coults.
I played this ball to Gary Birtles, and it was not the best, and he's worked a miracle to get it back in my path.
Getting his shot in, and a goal! Robertson!
Next thing I know, I'm mobbed.
John Robertson's goal has brought glory again to Brian Clough, to Peter Taylor, and brilliant Nottingham Forest.
We've done it again against Hamburg when we weren't favourites, when all the odds were stacked against us. I've never been so involved in a match for a long time.
We came back on the plane with the trophy.
Give it a kiss.
And all the flags were out, and the fans were just ecstatic.
To find that many people cheering us. Every street we went down, it was 8, 10, 15 fold. You grew about another 2 inches. You were that proud.
Larry Lloyd, what do you think of this reception?
Unbelievable. I didn't think there were this many people in Nottingham. I wish they'd all come to watch us when we're at home.
We're just living the dream, and it's wonderful, and it's a great feeling. You're just hoping it can go on forever.
Real Madrid's, the Inter Milans, AC Milans, we're up there with the great teams. Nottingham Forest, with Inter Milan, Juventus here having a laugh. That's what Brian Clough did. That's how great he was.
It was the last trophy Clough and Taylor would win together. Taylor went on to manage Derby. They never spoke again.
What medal was he most proud of?
Well, believe it or not, that was the Derby, when they won the First Division Championship. He knew that they could go on and do better things, and he had a medal made, one for me and one for his mum.
January 2009.
Derby County have just confirmed Nigel Clough.
Derby County have a new manager, Nigel Clough.
Son of former
36
manager.
years after his father controversially quit the club he had transformed into league champions.
Do you think they can ever replace him?
Never. Never.
All right, I'll do him another time for you. Excuse me, lads, thank you.
Can we talk to you afterwards?
Of course.
Super.
Nigel, don't let anybody pinch me car.
No. We'll watch it.
Hello.
Hi, Nigel.
How you doing? Nice to see you. Okay.
Thank you.
It's something that I've been hoping for years, that he would come back here.
Did you have any doubts?
Oh, plenty. How do you try this? It would have been easy to let your heart rule your head. So we all discussed it, the family obviously, and tried to sort of look at it without the emotion as much as possible.
It fits.
Hi, John. Jesus Christ, anymore? No.
People say, oh, he isn't like him.
Look at Pratt standing here. No, come on.
But he certainly is as far as football's concerned.
And obviously brings back memories for her of arriving in Derby 40 years or something ago.
You've made a lot of Derby County fans very happy.
I hope we can on the pitch.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
It is with a certain amount of sadness the Board of Directors have accepted the resignations of the manager and assistant manager.
Clough's fallout with Derby and Chairman Sam Longson became national news.
Can we ask you your reaction then to what Mr. Longson's been saying?
One of nausea.
A protest movement demanding his reinstatement gathered 30,000 signatures.
If they want Brian Clough back, they will get him back.
It was something that shook, I think, not just him, but it shook the whole town of Derby.
Oh, I think it's terrible. You think the club will come to an end, I think.
A letter signed by the team demanded the board change their decision.
We had to show our feelings somehow, and the feelings obviously is that we want Brian Clough and Peter Taylor back at Derby County.
But one brief appearance at the baseball ground was the closest Brian Clough came to a return.
I feel sure that probably Derby County, instead of Nottingham Forest, would have won the European Cup. Maybe once, maybe twice.
Can you tell us why you resigned?
Some fans never forgave their club. Until now.
Welcome. Thank you. The supporters here will talk to you about it as though it was yesterday. And a lot of them are still affiliated with the club because of those days. It's magnificent. I wish I had my boots.
Do you?
And give me right arm to play on there.
That's what we could do with you as well.
What we want here is to get the Clough back into Derby.
I don't know if somebody's messing about up there.
Fate, yeah.
It's just like it's happening all over again sort of thing.
These are the best things that's happened to me in my life.
They'd have probably said something totally unpredictable.
Where do you go from here?
Where do you go from here?
Yeah. Going for my lunch.
You get off home for yours.
Tried to imagine it, and I hope it would be a positive response.
Please give a big Derby County welcome to our new manager, Nigel Clough.
That is the last question. Thank you very much indeed.
That's a good out for you, son. Well, son, if you're happy, son, it is a good out.
There's no doubt at the end of his career he did have a drink problem. No doubt at all. There's no point in his family or me, his friends, trying to hide it. And I wouldn't. He wouldn't expect me to. He's that up front.
There was times when he did drive you up the wall. Work-wise, family-wise, everything else. Far from perfect. You know, we dealt with them as best we could as a family. And these days where people split up at the drop of a hat, you know, they were at the age where you got through things and you stuck together. Would have been nice if they just had another sort of 10 years together, something like that. Would have been nice into retirement, you know.
I intend to go with Brian Clough to the top of the tree.
Sadly, when Peter died, I think Brian never got over that, really.
They were like brothers. They were really.
I think he had regrets about that partnership breaking up, and he probably felt lonely.
Have you talked to Brian at all?
No.
Should have got together again. Ridiculous.
And just stand there.
They probably are together again. I should think they are.
Do you treat a player the way he treated you?
Sometimes I hope not.
If you've achieved some distinction in the game, it will still be there. There'll still be memories for many people who've enjoyed what you've done. And the only person that can sully that record, your name, is yourself. And I don't think Brian did.
We all like to be liked. And yet show me somebody who's liked by everybody and I'll show you somebody who's wrong.
Show me the perfect being, and I've not seen him in this life.
As time goes on, you do sort of select your memories a little bit, and the good ones come to the front, hopefully.
Not my type of man. Not one I'd, go out for a pint with him. No, I don't think so. But work for him. Phew.
You'd have been bloody standing there when I got down.
I walk across the Sahara Desert to work for him.
I would think the players who played for him, not a day goes by when we don't think about him.
I'm not so sure he had as much confidence in himself as he sometimes portrayed, but I think he was a genius.
He intrigues me, and that intrigue, that mystique, has still remained. And that's the reason why, since he's finished management, in the eyes of the English public, he's become even more important.
When you drive up there and you go along Brian Clough Way and you go to clubs and you see his statue there, and that's the way it should be.
It'll never happen again. The way football's going with the finances, no modest club will ever win the European Cup. And certainly not in England. Can you see it?
No. No chance.
People talk about the birth of the children, weddings and stuff like that, and then they talk about, oh, and I was in Munich or I was in Madrid or whatever when they won the European Cup. I think the pleasure that it gave to everybody else, that was the main thing he would take from it.
They look back now, see all the huge sums that are spent, and say, well, you know, this is remarkable. You know, he won the European Cup twice running. Yes, I think they look back and realise just, you know, how successful he was at the time. Yes.
One thing that people do say to me is, you've never changed. I shall see you next week, and the week after, and the month after, and the year after, and I shall put a trophy in front of you.
Brian Clough, thank you very much indeed.